Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's Makai Martin with Cable East. We're going to go through a 1015 today. It's your basic startup, basic operation of before you take off every day. First thing you want to do is obviously check your fluids, make sure everything's good to go on the engine compartment. Make sure your hydraulic fluid and everything in between is good to go. Alright, so first thing you're going to do is pull this latch open. Make sure it's not catching. Lift up your hood. Reveals your engine compartment. So first thing you're gonna do is check your oil. Obviously you got a cold engine. Don't want to start it up without checking your oil. So obviously right here, got your dipstick for engine oil. It's gonna have your little hash marks for indicator. What you wanted to do is either be in the middle or above, never obviously below. If it's below, you need to add some oil. Obviously you have your where you would add oil at right there, and then kind of going from there, you want to walk forward on the machine, making sure you don't see any major leaks, making sure everything looks like it's supposed to, nothing out of the way, wires frayed, kind of making sure everything's good on it, and then you're going to work your way up here to the hydraulic tank. Obviously you see some resemblance in like this in a 2440 on your hydraulic fluid. Obviously, you never want this sight glass to be completely full. If it's on a cold state and you take and fill this thing slap full, what's going to happen is as the machine gets hot, the hydraulic oil is going to heat up, and then it's going to expand and it's going to blow out at the next wherever it can get out at. So typically what you're going to see is you're going to see it come out of the cap. This right here is your hydraulic cap. It should be vented, so what you're going to do is you're going to see hydraulic fluid go everywhere. Then as you work your way back, right here you're going to have your coolant level. You want to see a little bit in there, that way you know your coolant level is good to go. And then obviously if you're in a dusty environment or on the side of the road where there's tall grass, stuff like that, you're going to have your air filter. Between this, your fuel filters, this is going to be the life of your engine. You start seeing overheating issues or less power in the engine, stuff like that, is typically because you've got a fuel filter issue or your air filter is clogged off. So pop this cap off. It's just a couple little clips. Take and pull that inner filter out, dust it off, make sure it's good to go, make sure it's not caving or have any restriction on it anywhere. So you've checked all your fluids, make sure they're good to go. Check your hydraulic fluid, make sure it's good. So good with the engine compartment. I'm going to take and push this in. Well, let's try that again. I'm going to take and pull this knob out, release the lock, push your hood back down. Next thing you're going to do after you've checked all your fluids, make sure everything's good to go. You're going to start walking around your machine and start greasing everything. This should be a daily thing, especially on the front side of this drill. You're going to have your wrenches or your breakout jaws. There's many different names for them. I call them your jaw set. But you got to think, with this side of the machine, it's working all day long. There's a lot of things on this machine that just sit there. This is one of the things, it's just movement all day long. So you want to make sure that you're hitting all of your grease points on all the points that are going to be rotating. This type of wrench set is run off of hydraulics. So what you're going to see is a lot of, you'll have a little bit more hydraulic use out of those because you're going to have the cylinders pushing your jaw set in and out. With this smaller drill like this, you obviously don't have rod loaders or anything like that, so not as many wear items as you would see on a 2440 or 4055 or something of that size. Obviously make sure your rods are in good shape. As you can see, these rods are coming back pretty nasty. You do have to hand load these rods, so the way to help kind of mitigate that is make sure that this donut is in really good shape. Obviously this is a used machine, it gets used daily. So it's kind of nasty right now, but one of the major things is making sure that this is in good shape. That way you're not getting as much mud pulled back. Obviously, after a few uses, these donuts wear out. So you've greased your front jaw set, made sure it was good to go. Now you're coming to your tracks. You're gonna take and check your track tension, make sure there's not too much play in them. You don't want them to be so tight that you don't have any movement in it, but just a little bit of movement like that right there is just about perfect. If you run into a scenario to where you have a loose track, you need to put some tension on it, what you're going to do is you're going to take and pop this little cover off right here. It should be just one bolt. Pull that bolt out, and then there's a grease fitting in there. It's going to put tension on a idler that's going to put tension on your track, and it'll tighten everything up. Obviously, while you're down here greasing this, you get done greasing it, making sure everything's good to go. You'll check all your rollers, make sure they're in good shape, make sure that they're free spinning. And you're going to come up here, check your main idler, make sure that it looks okay. It's hard to see, but making sure that it's sitting in the track the way it's supposed to, and not rolled off or in bad shape. Then you're going to work your way back. And obviously you have your planetary or your gear set. What you do here is make sure that all your teeth on your sprocket itself are in good shape. They're not rolled over. Kind of visualize, make sure that it's going to set in the track the way it's supposed to, and make sure that it's grabbing the way it's supposed to. A lot of these drills stay on concrete a lot of times, so they're going to be in a bind with the tracks. So it's really easy to wear them out, to wear the tracks out. So this is something that you got to be mindful for, especially if, like I said, you're on concrete a lot, you're going to be on the sidewalk a lot. So it's definitely something that you want to pay attention to. So for the next thing on a 1015, one of your major wear items is going to be on your Kelly. You obviously have wear pads, that the actual Kelly itself. What I'm talking about when I say Kelly is this piece right here, this full assembly. It's sitting on polyurethane slides, so they're like rubber plastic slides that sit up under here, under this piece, and that's what slides on it. So whenever you start seeing a lot of movement in this, so you see it's tight, it doesn't have any really like a lot of movement to it. Once you start drilling, or you can literally, if they're no good, you can come up here and literally shake that back and forth. It's time for your slides to either be adjusted or replaced. So it's something you definitely got to be, as an operator especially, you'll see it more than, you know, a ground hand or a laborer. You definitely got to pay attention to it. Once you start seeing that movement, then it's time for them to either be adjusted or, like I said, replaced. Because what will happen is you'll wear through that polyurethane slide, and then you'll start getting into this rack, and you'll start seeing wear. And if you wear one of these out, you're talking about big money. And then also what you'll see, especially on these smaller drills, just because there's so much more room for play, is you'll start seeing your gear slip on your actual track. So you get in hard ground or rock like we like to get into around here. You're putting pressure on the head, and then you go to drill and you're putting more pressure on it, you'll start feeling that slip or that jump. That's typically because either your Kelly's out of whack or your slides are out of whack as well. That's one major topic I want to talk about with wear items. Next wear item is obviously going to be, again, down here, your jaw set. As you can see down here on this jaw set, you got a lot of grease going on. And I wanted to kind of leave this in here. You're probably saying, dang, why did he use a dirty drill for a video like this? But I want to kind of use this as an example. If you start seeing your jaw set look like this, with all this grease in here, and you know, you get into a bind, your rods get a little bit torqued up, this isn't going to allow your rods to break loose, because you could have a really good set of jaws in your jaw set, but they're so packed off with grease that they won't grab. So making sure that you're adjusting your greaser right here, that it's spraying directly on your rods, making sure that it's not spraying down here in your actual vices and getting in your jaw set. Again, always use grease, always use NECs on these rods. Don't ever get away from that, but obviously we can mitigate how we use it and kind of keep it from making a mess at the same time. So next thing I want to talk about, obviously here in Georgia we've got the colder months, freezing temperatures. These directional drilling machines obviously use water to get down hole, make a hole. So they all come with a coolant tank, water tank. And what you want to do is, obviously if you're mixing mud or whatever you're mixing in these smaller tanks on these 1015s, make sure that's cleaned out, and then you want to keep coolant in here, especially during the winter months. This is a huge tank, but like as you can see, this is like the perfect amount of coolant to keep in this tank. And then what you'll do is you'll take and put this cap on the back side back here, like so. Put the cap on there, and then you'll find your hose that's located that runs to your actual coolant tank. Open that valve, close this drain valve right here, and then you'll come back up here like that, and you'll turn on your water. Once you start seeing water either come out of the end of your drill stem, or if you don't have a drill stem on there, out of your sub saver, once you start seeing that pink flow out of there, you're good to go. That means it's circulated all of that water out of there, and now you've got coolant or antifreeze in your system and replaced all the water that's in there. So obviously this will keep everything from freezing, and it'll keep you from having to bring this drill in to get a pump replaced after it's cracked from freezing, which is not a good thing. All right, well, thank y'all for watching today. That's your basic kind of walkthrough on a 1015. Obviously, have any issues or questions about it, just let me know. Thank you.